The Bible says, the final battle happens at Armageddon. Armageddon is Megiddo, the hill of Megiddo, in the Jezreel Valley, Israel. The army that invades at the end of the world is Gog and Magog. Josephus identifies Magog plainly. He founded the Magogians, whom the Greeks call Scythians. The end-times enemy of the Bible are the Scythians, and the battlefield is in the Jezreel Valley. But the Scythians already lived in the Jezreel for 1,000 years. They garrisoned a city there, taxed the corridor, served the same Persian administration the Jewish governors served, and nobody in the Hebrew Bible, the Talmud, or the Midrash ever complained about them. Not once. The most feared army in biblical prophecy was already living next door collecting taxes for the same empire. This is that city. 18 layers of ruins, 5,000 years of occupation, the only inland corridor connecting Egypt to Syria. Every army, every trade route, every empire that moved between Africa and Asia came through this point. Egyptian records call this region Rechenu, Amorite territory, not Egyptian land. The 18th dynasty builds a garrison here around 1500 BCE. Rameses II rebuilds it with a governor's palace. The Seti Stele mentions Habiru at this site, Habiru, a term some scholars link to the Hebrews tied to a Hurrian merchant word for a mobile worker class operating outside tribal borders, not a race, a job title. This garrison watches the Hyksos corridor. The Hyksos were Semitic invaders who conquered Egypt and ruled it for over a century until the 18th dynasty drove them out. Megiddo sits 30 kilometers away on the same road. A 2020 study in the journal Cell found R1b M269 and R1a DNA in people buried at Megiddo, dated 1600 to 1500 BCE. Steppe bloodlines in the Bronze Age Holy Land. Bone chemistry proved they grew up locally, not passing through, living there. A separate burial at nearby Tel Shaddud, dated 1250 BCE, also carried R1b M269. The researchers described him as a Canaanite official tied to the administrative center at Beth Shean. Steppe DNA at this node 400 years before the Scythians officially show up. 681 BCE. Esarhaddon's 16-nation confederation. Scythians listed alongside Persians, Greeks, Phoenicians, Israelites, Canaanites. We covered this in the Alexander video. Same system, same scribal class. The Scythians are not outsiders raiding civilization. They are members of the coalition. Around 630 BCE, the Scythians marched south. The Byzantine historian George Syncellus writes it plain. The Scythians overran Palestine and took Byzan, which from them is called Scythopolis, city of the Scythians, in the heart of Israel. Herodotus records 28 years of Scythian rule over Upper Asia. Pliny backs the name, Genesis 10. The Bible's family tree of nations. Japheth fathers Gomer. Gomer fathers Ashkenaz. Assyrian records match Gomer to the Gimiri, the Cimmerians, Ashkenaz to the Ishkuzar, the Scythians. The Bible files Scythians under Japheth, and they are now living in a city in Israelite territory. And the Hebrew Bible never says a word about it. Darius again. The same king who gave Zerubbabel the keys to Jerusalem, the same king who gave Demaratus the cities of Pergamum, the same empire Alexander inherited. Darius carves the Behistun inscription and sorts the Saka, the Persian name for Scythians, into 3 groups. Pointed cap Saka, warriors, Haoma preparing Saka, priestly specialists who make sacred drink. Saka beyond the sea, a naval branch. That is not a barbarian horde, that is a classified, organized service population with military, religious, and naval divisions built into one empire. The pointed cap. You saw this in the Alexander video. Persian governors, Phrygian priests, Saka warriors, Babylonian temple officials, same hat, same system, different name tag, and the lion. Burkhardt at Babish Bolya University tracked the main Scythian art symbol that scholars have been calling a panther for decades and proved it is a lion. Panthera, Leo, curled on bronze from Arzhan in Siberia, crouching on gold from the Caucasus, in twin guardian pairs at gates matching Mycenae and the Hittite capital, on swords and mirrors from Kazakhstan to Ukraine, the lion of Judah, the lion of Persia, the lion of Sparta, the lion on Scythian gold from Siberia to the Black Sea. You have seen this symbol in every video in this series. Same lion, same job. Step to temple. Herodotus records a Scythian priestly class called the Enarees, men who dressed as women and performed prophecy. He says they were cursed at Ascalon, a city on the Levantine coast, not a steppe origin, a Levantine one. Compare them to the Galli priests of Cybele in Phrygia, gender crossing, prophecy, temple attached, hereditary role. The Scythian priest and the Phrygian priest are the same job in the same hat in neighboring territories, Cyrus the Great. His mother, Mandane, was Median. The Median royal house married into Scythian nobility during those 28 years of Scythian rule, Herodotus records. Christopher Beckwith argues in The Scythian Empire, published 2023, that the entire Persian system was built on a steppe confederation model. The man Isaiah 45:1 calls Messiah descends from the same Scythian-Median bloodline that garrisoned Beth Shean a generation earlier. The silence. Jewish sources never mention, never attack, never even notice the Scythians at Beth Shean. Compare that to Canaanites cursed across multiple books, Philistines as permanent enemies, Assyrians and Babylonians as tools of divine punishment, Romans sparking revolt, Samaritans generating centuries of argument. The Scythians get nothing. 500 years of living side by side and total silence. But Rabbi Judah Hanassi, the man who edited the Mishnah, the foundation of Jewish law, exempts Beit Shean from tithing and sabbatical rules. Says it was never sanctified by those who returned from Babylon. Legally outside the borders of Holy Israel, The same rabbis said if the Garden of Eden is in Israel, then its gate is Beth Shean. Diocletian's price control law rates Scythopolis textiles first class worldwide. Jewish weavers at a Scythian named City making the finest linen in the Roman Empire. Ptolemies run it. Seleucids make it their regional headquarters. 107 BCE John Hyrcanus, Hasmonean high priest and king, captures it. The priestly dynasty takes the switching station. Rome makes it the only Decapolis city west of the Jordan. Population hits 40,000. It becomes capital of the province Palestina Secunda. The name Scythopolis lasts over 1,000 years, until the Arab conquest in 634 CE. The steppe DNA at Megiddo in 1500 BCE, and at this corridor for a millennium goes everywhere. East as Indo-Scythians building the Kushan Empire, north as Sarmatians into the Black Sea steppe, west as the populations carrying R1b into Celtic and Iberian lands. The 2025 Carthaginian DNA study found R1b in the Phoenician colonial elite. Same genetic marker, same corridor, same network, not raiders passing through. An empire ceding 3 continents from one chokepoint. Fast forward to the 1948 population, entirely Muslim and Christian. The Haganah captures it during Operation Gideon. Inhabitants expelled, resettled with Jewish immigrants. The 19th regime change at the same chokepoint, 5,000 years. Amorites, Habiru, Canaanite, Scythian, Ptolemaic, Seleucid, Hasmonean, Roman, Byzantine, Arab, Crusader, Ottoman, British, Israeli. The name on the deed changes. The function never does. That is the thesis of this entire series in one city. The Hebrew Bible was finalized under Persian rule, written in Aramaic, the administrative language of the Persian Empire, by scribes living in territory where a major Scythian city had been operating for generations. The Jews and the Scythians were both tax collectors for the same Persian system, and those scribes placed the end of the world at the exact location where both groups already worked, side by side. If there was an Armageddon, it already happened. The Bronze Age collapse wiped every palace system in the eastern Mediterranean off the map in a single generation. Or it was the Hellenization that followed. Scythian descended populations deploying in every direction and seeding the empires that replaced the old world. Indo-Scythians east into India. Sarmatians north into Europe. Celtic, Galati or Carthaginian and Iberian colonies west across the Mediterranean. And in every one of those empires, the scribes, the record keepers, the administrators, descend from the same Aramaic-trained bureaucratic class that served Persia. The Gaons, the Exilarchs, the Kalonymus, the Greek archons, and Persian exarchs. Persian magi dispersed into the west and east. Sassanid leftovers running the east and the southern extraction systems. The same scribal dynasty we have tracked in every episode of this series. The battle at Megiddo already happened. The scribes who recorded it are still here. Subscribe and turn on notifications.